Okay, we've reached the command center. Now we're supposed to talk to the governor and ask him why he allows such heresy to run rampant in his planet. The formidable shells for large caliber weapons are being stored right in the command center. Are these shells for some giant weapon? Wow. A solitary young tech priest is offering ceaseless prayers to the machine spirits of the command center. So they load these weapons into here to get fired off, maybe? Those are just giant.
Follow my lead.
You're safe here, your lordship. Emperor protect you, your lordship. Ooh, what? There was a sign here. Winter Scale. Yes, because they are under the rule of the Winter Scale clan.
What are all these enforcers and soldiers doing in this shelter? Why are they not on the streets fighting back against the enemies of humanity?
Good question.
I presume it is because the governor does not wish to be without his personal guard, even behind the meter-thick walls of his bunker. Typical.
Or there's a more nefarious answer. It's a bloodbath outside, but nothing can threaten you here, your lordship.
A new challenge for me.
Okay, anyone of a name? Governor's bodyguard. We've got the governor up there. Anyone else of note? Doesn't look like it. Oh, Tech Priest Quartz Crame, who I think is the Tech Priest Pascal was looking for. So let's check out a couple of things we can interact with. These heavy chains are used to adjust the height of the command platform. I guess that's fair. This can raise and lower, it looks like. Don't know why you'd want the platform to be able to raise and lower, but sure. And then push the button over here. This cogitator looks a lot older and more worn than the ones next to it. However, it has evidently been well cared for. Numerous parts have been replaced, not a single key is jammed, and fresh seals with prayers to the Omnissiah adorn its surface. One of the side panels has been removed. Bundles of gold-notched cables run from inside it to a small data crypt that was connected only a short while ago. The screen reads, awaiting access code. We could force it. Yeah. It's got a plus 55 to our check, which means Pascal would have a 135% chance to succeed. And them's good numbers. Or I could wait for us to get the access code from somewhere, possibly the governor, for whatever this is supposed to do. But we'll force access, why not? You bypass the security layers. The cogitator is ready to reveal its secrets. Go to Sacred Computation 782-5M, recent observations, or to be investigated. We'll go to the Sacred Computation first. Upon Logis Abel's orders, the archives of every augur station on Rykad Monoris and the two primary satellites of Rykad's star have been queried. Said satellites are named Magos Maruf and Zephyra the Keen, after two great champions of faith, whose external cogitators were placed inside the satellite's cores after their shells perished. The purpose of the sacred computation requested by the Logis is to uncover the external influence behind the ongoing insurgency. Computation result positive. Multiple instances of interference and malfunction detected, suggesting that the ships moving across the system deliberately blinded the sacred augur's eyes. The first of these ships is thought to have arrived 2 Rykad Minor cycles ago, early in the winter. The most recent one arrived a month ago. Augurs, sensor technology that allows void ships to scan planets, spot enemies, and observe various other kinds of crucial data at great distances. Okay. Logis Abel's conclusion, the insurrection on the planet had been long in the making, with the participation of external actors. It is alleged that 2 cycles ago, Aurora arrived in the Rykad system, the rumored unholy prophet of the insurgents. The subsequent ship's movement can be attributed to weapon deliveries. But what is the nature of their activity near Rykad Philia? Governor Medina's attention must be drawn to. The final entry cuts off abruptly. Recent observations. The satellite Magus Maruf reports that a ship has translated into the system. Its signature is consistent with the records of the flagship of a rogue trader dynasty, House von Valencius. The satellite Zafira the Keen reports that a ship drifting nearby has hurriedly sped away. The ship had sent an encrypted Vox transmission to the insurgent-controlled areas on the surface of Rykad Minoris. Another transmission was directed to planetoid Rykad Philia. Both transmissions were signed Brother Twilight. Their contents could not be decrypted. Brother Twilight is Kunrad, if I recall. Rykad Philia that we've been reading about, I think, is the prison planet that we haven't gone to yet. But we were hoping to be able to recruit new workers from there, maybe, if I'm remembering. Or were we going to get our extra workers from this planet to refill all the people that died on the ship? I don't recall. I think Rykadiphilia. But are we really going to restock our supply of people with prisoners? Don't remember. To be investigated. The entry contains a planetside coordinates marked as Heavy Auger Station jamming, possibly a hidden insurgent base. Hey, we gained another level. Alright. So first we get to choose another ability score. We can't choose willpower or agility now. So ballistic skill is probably decent because we've been using our gun a lot lately, and we can round that up to a whole number. Perception we could also round up. I don't care about strength. Let's go ballistic skill. And then following that we get another common talent. And we can't yet get Psykad Majoris. We need level 14. What level are we at this point? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So it's going to have to wait till all the way here. That is a shame. So obscured threat. When we're not in the target's line of sight or the psykers in cover, resistance tests have penalties. Seems like a reasonable choice. Psychic powers, 25% chance to regain AP spent on psychic powers when veil degradation is 10 or lower. Interesting. Psyker's resolve is increased by 3, while veil degradation is low. Psykers can use damaging psychic powers while being threatened by enemies in melee range without provoking attacks of opportunity. Then we have these that we keep considering. Body of Flames. Psyker gains additional armor against fire damage. Half this amount as additional armor against energy damage from Lasmelt and Plasma. Or Relentless Blaze. When the Psyker is burning, the Psyker's Psi rating is increased by 1, and the Psyker's Resolve is increased by 2. Damage from fire no longer reduces the Psyker's momentum. I think I'm going to go with that. We've had this idea for a while about lighting ourselves on fire to start combat. So I could now use Relentless Blaze to light myself, or use Ignition to light myself on fire. Then use that other ability we got last level, Orchestrate Flames, to make my damage be cut in half. And then my psi rating would be up. Then I could do run and gun to hit someone else with a psi rating 2 ignite. Yeah. So, Relentless Blaze. Abelard, what are we doing with you? Can't boost your weapon skill, so toughness, agility, or strength. I think toughness. They're all at even numbers, so can't really get a bonus up. Arguably strength would make him do more damage. But I think he's mainly there to tank rather than doing damage. Alright. We give him athletics up to 60, because I think he is our best athletics person at the moment. Coercion, we could also get up, but no. Demolition, no. Medicae, no. Definitely athletics. Cassia. What to do with you? We've got held in my gaze. I guess we picked up some other abilities that would have unlocked additional options that I may not have considered. So, like, Notch of Purpose was a requirement for Point of Curiosity. Hurricane's probably going to take one of these rather than any of her officer choices. Probably? Yeah. So Glimpse of Fate, target gains 30% increased hit chance on their next attack, dodge on their next dodge test, and chance of success on their next resistance test. They disappear independently from each other after being successfully applied. Held in my gaze, Navigator deals 13 to 30 damage to an enemy. That enemy must pass a willpower resistance test or be immobilized until the start of the Navigator's next turn. Interesting. Point of Curiosity is one that's now available to because we had taken Notch of Purpose. All enemies in a 6-cell radius around the target point must make a willpower resistance test or immediately move 3 cells towards that point. The targets move even if they are stunned or immobilized. Okay, so rather than a single enemy, or potentially multiple if they're all equidistant, moving 4 cells, now we put it into a center and everyone is forced to move. And then because of that other ability we took, they would take damage based on the movement. This one specifically does additional damage, maybe? No. So is the damage we do with this only because of that other ability, so it would still apply to this one? Okay. Mark that as a maybe. Reveal the Light. Target ally gains 22 to their willpower and toughness until the end of combat. That's not bad. Give that to Ignatius. His plus 22 willpower would definitely help his attacks get better. Spot of Apathy. Creates a circle with a 3-cell radius. Any creature that's inside of it enters it or ends their turn inside. Not under the effects of Apathy. Makes a willpower resistance test. Failure applies Apathy effect to the creature. Target becomes immobilized after 1 round passes under the effect of Apathy. Target must make a willpower resistance test. Success removes Apathy. Failure stuns the creature for 1 round, removes Apathy, and makes the creature immune to any further aspects of Spot of Apathy until the end of combat. So it just stuns people for a turn. Looks like. Meh. Waking Nightmare. All enemies within the area suffer a minus 22 penalty to their willpower and toughness until the end of turn. So kind of the opposite, which doesn't sound... the opposite of Reveal the Light. Which doesn't sound nearly as cool. Although that, it is a big area. Big-ish. Then Zone of Fear. All creatures in a 3x3 zone must pass a willpower resistance test or immediately move out of the area, out of the zone, even if they are stunned or immobilized. Movement triggers attacks of opportunity from the Navigator's allies that have passed the resistance test or that are outside the zone. So forced movement would do damage, and enemies moving would take attacks of opportunity. I'm going to go Point of Curiosity out of these. Tempted by Reveal the Light, but that really would only be useful to put on Ignatius. And that feels a bit of a waste, but we're probably going to pick up Reveal the Light sooner or later. Alright. We've got Mind Over Matter. Strange Vitals, which makes you get lots of health. We'll go with Strange Vitals. Just keep her healthy, and then maybe we'll start moving her into combat more so that she can use her eye abilities and various combat abilities more rather than hanging back in the back. Kind of wish that, because she does have a lot of these, like, heal and improve her tests and whatnot, I wish she was a warrior or something, where she was designed to be more upfront and attacking. So I think her weapon skill and strength are pretty terrible, so throwing her up front to attack with her physical abilities wouldn't be useful. but she's kind of built for it a little bit based on the skills she has. Alright, Pascal. Joint analysis. Until the operative's next turn, their allies' attacks also remove exploits and deal plus int bonus to damage. Definitely a good choice. And then here we have lots that we've already taken. I guess we can turn off the ones we've taken so they don't keep showing up. Let me make sure that they're marked because I have them, and there's not some other reason why they're not able to be taken. There we go. While Pascal's under the effects of Machine Spirit Communion, his melee attacks deal additional damage and armor penetration. Pretty good, because he can just give that to himself pretty easily. Probably just being able to move around more is going to suit us better in the long run. Him just having 2 more movement every round gets him into combat easier, probably. Argenta, what are we doing with you? You get a characteristic, and you can't choose agility or ballistic. So perception, strength, which doesn't matter, and willpower. Well, we could round willpower off to a whole number. Wouldn't be the worst choice. Sure. And then you get a new talent. Yeah, I don't know. We don't have Melt a Flame or melee attacks with her. Devotee and their allies in the area of effect of War Hymn or Furious Recital gain +2 damage for 1 round. Okay, this one isn't bad. 60% to armor against... Well, I guess it's just demons and warp damage. But resolve permanently increasing by 2 is a useful ability that exists even if there aren't demons and warp damage around. Or a 4% chance to ignore any enemy attack. That's not nothing. Mark both of those as maybes, and then beyond that, it's just these basic options. Yeah. I mean, these actually do seem interesting. The advanced skills that we can't get yet. So this, it gives us +7. And then the advanced would give us an additional +13, and you can reroll a failed skill test 1 at a time. So if you want them to be really good at a specific skill, there's something to be said about taking those as well. But I haven't yet really failed skills, so it doesn't feel that important yet. We'll go with Emperor Protects, just 4% chance to not take, not be hit by an enemy attack, any attack. And then moving on to Cabela, last of all. Weapon skill, strength, or toughness. Weapon skill, strength could turn it to a whole number. Or toughness. I think we'll go with weapon skill. I don't really need her strength to go up. Clearly, strength doesn't seem to be very impacted by her attacks because she's still doing plenty of damage. So I'm assuming she has something that's letting her do damage with agility. I should probably check that. And then skill-wise, athletics, no. Demolition, maybe. Can't do Medicae. Awareness, no. Carouse, maybe. Coercion, no. So, demolition or awareness. No. Carouse? Carouse. Abelard's our only carouse person. Demolition, we have 2 that are good. Well, I guess Cabela is the other demolition person. Besides Argenta. I thought Pascal did demolition. Does he not? Guess not. Demolition is actually a focus of hers. Because 70 is pretty high. Like, getting her carouse up to 60 doesn't really matter as long as Abelard's around. So let's go demolition. There we go. Everyone's leveled up. And we had already clicked this, I believe. Yes, we clicked that. Then we read through the logs. Let's move forward to talk to these 2 people. Tech Priest and then the Governor. Tech Priest Quartz Crane. The painfully thin Tech Priest turns sharply toward you. The sudden movement makes his chromed augments briefly clang. His gray eyes, set under furrowed brows, almost blend into the pale skin of his face, and he levels you with a heavy, dour stare. Identification: Unit Logis Quartz Crane, official trade representative of the Explorer Cognizance fleet. The unit supervises supply routes in the Rykad system, ensures the security of the combat arsenal, performs commercial transactions, and secures mutually beneficial contracts. When the Tech Priest notices Pascal, his eyes widen. His Vox unit immediately lets out a string of screeching binaric, a tortuously long tirade in which the volume rises and falls seemingly at random. When it's finally over, the Omniscience servant bows his head in deference. Unit Quartz Crane requests permission to transfer information. The rogue trader possesses a supreme degree of power, the potential to influence the current leadership, the ability to restore order in the Rykad system. Show me your arsenal. I accept the commercial transaction. Pascal, what was that? Permission to transfer information granted. What do you wish to tell me? You're an explorator, aren't you? What are you doing here? What is the Cognizance fleet doing in the Rykad system? Or I'll take my leave. Looks like we'll be able to go through all these. Typically, if they give you an option to take your leave or say goodbye, it means that you have the chance to go through all the other options first. Before we go looking at their wares, we will instead go through the options. Pascal, what was that? A detailed complaint. I recommend you consider Unit Quartz Crane's request to transfer information. Okay, permission to transfer information granted. What do you wish to tell me? The Tech Priest says sharply and curtly, haphazard and careless decisions on the part of the Rykad Minoris governor have led to unacceptable consequences. Communication with the Adeptus Mechanicus Sanctum has been lost. Troops must be sent to the hollowed electrodynamic cenobium without delay. Restoring communication with the Electro Priests and ensuring the Sanctum's security are our top priorities. You are the head of the Rogue Trader dynasty. Your position enables you to exert influence. The Tech Priest pauses for a moment. And pressure on the subjects of the Imperium. Unit Quartz Crane requests assistance. The actions of Governor Faisal Rykadi Ab Medina Afkronus, what a name, must be influenced. Demand that troops be sent to the holy monastery of the Adeptus Mechanicus. I observe that this world's authorities lack diligence in the performance of their duties. I have observed that as well. This statement is true. United in their denunciations and brimming with righteous criticism, the pair in red exchange knowing nods. I'll discuss with the governor. What will I get in return for my help? But the governor is carrying out his immediate duties. I do not intend to interfere. I'm not discussing with the governor. I make no guarantees that he won't have an alternate perspective that makes me believe that he's doing the right thing, but I'll at least discuss it. Unit Quartz Crane is grateful. The rogue trader is highly likely to successfully influence the future actions of the local authorities. Alright, well, you're an explorator, aren't you? What are you doing here? Retrieving archive data. Over 70 Terran years ago, the governor of Rykad Minoris and authorized representatives of the Explorators Cognizant's fleet made an agreement. Its goals was mutual benefit through cooperation. Unit Logis Quartz Crane is the fleet's appointed trade agent. The unit is responsible for maintenance of the arsenal and the combat machinery. Blessed are the armorers, for there can be no Imperium without them. Blessed are the valiant warriors, for there is no end to the darkness without them. The Omnisci's servants exchange short binaric mantras filled with intimidating solemnity. And what is the Cognizant's fleet doing in Rykad, the Rykad system? The Cognizant's fleet's presence in the Rykad system is negligible. Its research activities in the system have been concluded. A limited presence is maintained for the purpose of logistical support, fulfillment of vows to maintain the Omnisci's creations, spiritual oversight. Alright, well, show me your arsenal. I accept the commercial transaction. We're finally learning how to do trade. How about that? Profit factor is a measure of your status, wealth, and power as a rogue trader. Its value is determined by your trade connections, income of your holdings, treasury, and loans both to you and from you. The value of your profit factor is displayed in the bottom right corner of the inventory screen. While traveling, your character will use profit factor for buying items and completing colonial projects. Profit factor is not spent on purchases and transactions. Instead, its level determines your ability to conclude trade transactions. Profit factor can grow or diminish. Its growth is primarily influenced by major trade deals, and its decrease by investments in colonial projects. Yeah, so unlike other games where you're spending, like 10 gold to buy a sword, here we have profit factor that just says your profit is high enough that if you need some weapons, or you need a sword, or you need medkits, you can just get them. And your profit factor doesn't drop buying them. It's just assumed that our profit is high enough that it's negligible to buy minor things. Equipment, weapons, and other items can be found at vendors in various factions throughout the Koronus Expanse. To trade with them, profit factor and reputation are required. They are not spent on purchases, but their level, one or both at once, affects the range of goods available to you. Reputation is a measure of the rogue trader's relationship with the different factions of the Koronus Expanse. The higher the reputation with a faction, the wider the range of goods available from its representative. To increase your reputation with a particular faction, complete their orders and transfer valuable cargo to their representatives. Makes sense. So right now, with 0 reputation, we can buy a multi-key and an analyst's helmet. And our profit factor is 12. So we could see that if we got to reputation 1, which will take 1500 reputation, or I guess calling it reputation 1 doesn't make sense, because if we get to whatever this system is tracking, because obviously it's not reputation, it's a ranking of our reputation, but if we get to 1, that means all of these become available, but because our profit factor is only 12, we can buy the psychic body glove and the modified bolter, but we can't buy any of the others because we don't have enough profit factor. And that's how this all works. We could buy these medkits because we have a profit factor 12, but we'd have to get our reputation to rank 2. And it would be nice to buy 10 medkits because we're always low on them. So far, we haven't really needed to use any multi-keys because Pascal is awesome. Endless Helmet. When the wearer kills a target with an exploit using a single or dead-eye shot, the nearest enemy immediately gains 1 exploit. That's not that critical to me. Although, it doesn't actually cost us anything to grab these, I think. I guess let's find out. So our profit factor requires to be at least 6. Reputation's currently 0. I doubt our reputation can go into negative. So if I just want to grab all 5 of these, still profit factor 12, still reputation 0. So we just got them for free, more or less. Reputation. Okay, cargo list and cargo. So he's requiring holy gifts, heretical trophies, ship components, blah, 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 blah. And they're offering different levels of reputation if I gave them to them. Okay. So, for instance, holy gifts and heretic trophies are the two that matter the most to them. So I've got this one that's 106% full, and this that's 106% full, which would get me 1,000 reputation if I traded it. Ship components is also full. I'm assuming that there are different factions that rate some of these things differently. So I could give him fuel for 100, but there might be some other faction that rated fuel higher. Maybe? Mechanicus Creations is also full already. Are all of these full? They are. Okay. So that's why they're showing up here, is I can trade them because they're already maxed. Oh! We have multiple copies of some of these. What is specifications? It's clear selection. I have no idea what specifications is. Name. That should make it easier to find. We have tons of duplicates. Okay. So if we want to go to the ones that are most valuable, holy gifts and heretics trophies, then there's a bunch of heretic trophies and a bunch of holy gifts. So those are the things that they're giving me the highest reputation on. And maybe I'll hold on to the other things until I get more factions available to see what they want. I'm assuming these are in different orders based on the factions. It could be that everyone values the holy gifts and heretics trophies the highest, and I shouldn't just give them all to a single faction. That I don't know. But might as well do this. So our reputation is now up to 3. So yeah, now we can buy the psychic body glove. Which does what for me? Base armor property goes down. Okay. So this boosts our dodge if our willpower is high enough. The other one boosts our dodge if agility is high enough. Is there a reason not to buy all these things? Like, is there a penalty if I do so? If I buy them all? That's what I don't know. Well, let's buy all the medikits because we always need more of those. Yeah, it doesn't penalize our reputation or our profit factor to buy them. We'll get the modified bolter to see if either of our bolter people can use it. Plasma pistol. We don't have anyone using plasma yet. Or who's trained to use plasma. But it's 9 to 13 as a simple pistol. I think is pretty high. Something to keep in mind. First aid manual. Using any medikit costs 1 AP less, but no less than 0. It's an equipment somewhere. And then a handful of grenades? Sure. I'll just hold on to all of that. So if we look at our people, where does this get equipped? It gets equipped into, looks like, the ring slot. Odd. But alright, Cabela, if we give you a first aid manual, then you'll be able to heal people with less AP. And then we got the modified bolter. How does that compare to your bolter? 9 to 14 versus 7 to 12. So it does less damage. Higher rate of fire. How does it compare to this bolter? The Unfading Valor. 6 to 10 versus 7 to 12. So it looks like it's slightly better than Unfading Valor. Same rate of fire. But less damage than a normal bolter to get an extra rate of fire. Oh, the recoil is also nice. This is recoil 25, which is the same as our normal bolter, as opposed to this other one, which was recoil 40, which made it super inaccurate. Do I want to lower the damage just to get an extra shot? That's the question. Sure. Oh, no, don't replace your sniper rifle. Come on. What else did we pick up? We got a bunch of medikits. So we'll give another one to Abelard. Genta's got hers. Bella, you can grab another one. Perfect. I think that's most things that I picked up. Yeah. Alright, moving on to talk to the governor. I guess we can try looking at this first. Scroll down. The heavy hum of this massive cogitator runs down the metal walls of the bunker, filling the entire command center. Alright, Governor Medina. Tall, dark-skinned man turns towards you and greets you in a curt military manner. Faisal Raikadi Ab Medina Af Koronus, governor of this star system. Welcome to my temporary headquarters. The man's gaze falls on Abelard, his eyes slightly narrow. We're Sarian. They know each other. Abelard nods dryly. Governor Medina, my greetings. The governor's expression changes drastically when he sees Cassia. Lady Navigator, what an honor. I never thought that House Orsilio would grace our world with a visit. I only wish I could have received you under different circumstances. Cassia purses her lips, and an echo of grief knocks the wind out of those present. House Orsilio is grateful for the support that you have provided to York 5 these many years. Then the governor notices Cabela's clothes, and his eyes go wide. He adds softly and cautiously, This woman, she is your bodyguard, I presume? Or is she here to... He stops, choosing not to finish his question. That depends on you, dude. I'm not seeing the convoy I'd sent to meet you. What happened? Did they fail to find and escort you? If that is so, I promise you their punishment will be swift and severe. What a curious exchange of pleasantries. Is there some kind of discord between you and Abelard? But the convoy was ambushed and massacred. The only surviving soldier turned out to be a traitor and was personally executed by me. Both are good answers, but we'll ask first about Abelard. What's the discord between you and Abelard? No, of course not. An old misunderstanding. Over a century old by now. It isn't worth your time, Lord Captain. Alright, well, the convoy was ambushed and massacred. The only surviving soldier turned out to be a traitor and was personally executed by me. That is an outrage. I will have the personnel vetting procedures changed immediately. The slightest suspicion will be grounds for arrest. Your Lordship, before we proceeded with discussing the matters that are of interest to you, there is a question I feel compelled to ask. It was only recently that Lady Theodora was the head of House von Valencius. I have received no word of her demise. How is it you are now the rogue traitor? My esteemed predecessor died at the hand of cultists. May the Emperor incinerate their souls. I should be the one asking that question. Our ship was attacked by heretics. They killed Lady Theodora. Our ship was attacked, Theodora was killed, and I claimed my inheritance. That is all you need to know. I'm gonna go with the top one. My esteemed predecessor died at the hands of cultists. May the Emperor incinerate their souls. The governor frowns, and a deep shadow falls on his face. Rogue traitor von Valencius, slain? Unthinkable. Please accept my deepest and most sincere condolences, your lordship. Do not hesitate to let me know how I might be of help. I realize that you yourself are in a difficult situation, but my crew has sustained heavy losses. I must replace my missing crew members. The ship's crew has suffered heavy losses. I wish to secure replacements on Rykad Minoris or Commerce 70. I need fresh crew to replace those killed in the attack on the ship, and I need material compensation. I mean, we're gonna succeed if we use this one. Is there a reason I need material compensation to cover the losses? I mean, he's also probably dealing with bad situation. But generally, if you can make a check, you always get better results. So, might as well try it. I need fresh crew to replace those killed in the attack on the ship, and I need material compensation. The governor bows his head in acceptance. Of course, your lordship. You will be compensated for any losses, and I'll see to it personally that your ship holds are filled with the finest goods from my personal reserves. Profit factor goes up by 2. Abelard nods in approval and remarks quietly, "Excellent, your lordship. A rogue trader has no use for leniency." Nice. Abelard likes our way of handling things. "I can offer you several thousand fine obedient servants. However, I'm sad to inform you that I won't be able to do it until we've dealt with the insurgency on the planet. I'm sure you won't have to wait long. The rabble will soon be duly punished for their heretical scheming." Are you so confident that you will crush the insurrection soon? My own impressions have been the exact opposite. Is there anything else I can do on this planet or in this system while I wait for the end of the revolt? I wish to commend the courage of one of your citizens, Sergeant Malgar. He and his soldiers valiantly defend the starport. Yeah, that's going to be a good one. My kinsman, Kunrad Votvier von Valencius, has betrayed our dynasty and the Imperium. If he is hiding in this system, I want him handed over to me. I hope I can go through all these. Heinrich von Kalox, an interrogator of the Most Holy Inquisition, is operating in your system. Do you know where he is? And Tech Priest Quartz Crane claims you have not been doing enough to ensure the safety of the Adeptus Mechanicus Monastery. This doesn't have a leave option, which they usually do if we can go through all of them, but I'd be shocked if I can't ask all of these. Or at least most of them. I think when I start with the Kunrad, like, if they find Kunrad, I want him handed over. Just point it out. So my kinsman Kunrad Votvier von Valencius has betrayed our dynasty and the Imperium. If he is hiding in this system, I want him handed over to me. Votvier is a traitor? Why, any family, however noble, has an unworthy scion or two. Naturally, we will surrender him should we find him within my jurisdiction. Unfortunately, I have no information regarding his location. However... The governor pauses to think. We have a cogitator here at the command center. It's connected to a data crypt from Logus Abel's sanctum. It aggregated all the Lex Mechanic reports. Unfortunately, the access prayer for it is unknown to me. If you manage to convince the stubborn machine, you might learn something about Kunrad's movement. I'd hazard he fled from your ship, not on a pair of wings. So yeah, it looks like we can go through all of these. I wish to commend the courage of one of your officers, Sergeant Malgar. He and his soldiers valiantly defend the starport. A sergeant who managed to impress a person of such noble standing will be recommended for decoration. And Heinrich von Kalox, an interrogator of the Most Holy Inquisition, is operating in your system. Do you know where? The governor lowers his voice. I do. Master van Kalox has left the hallowed Electrodynamic Cenobium. It's an ancient monastery of the Adeptus Mechanicus. I don't know what his objectives are. Left 4 there, okay. Needless to say, insurgent activity has been observed in the monastery's vicinity, but I suppose that's too petty of a problem for an agent of the Most Holy Inquisition. Besides, I've already sent a small detachment of reinforcements there. The weapon the insurgents were using to shoot down shuttles over the city has been destroyed. Now nothing is preventing you from returning to your ship. If you wish to find Master von Kalox, you should go to the Cenobium of the Adeptus Mechanicus. Notes of anxiety creep into the voice that rattles from Pascal's Vox. On behalf of the priesthood of Mars, I, Magos Hanuman, am officially initiating my participation in the operation. I must inspect the state of the relic and assure myself that it is under zero risk of falling into heretic hands. According to the Catechism of Maintenance and Operation, my tech comrades were supposed to lock the monastery gates against lay people and activate the traps. I deem it optimal that an ordained Magos should provide his assistance. Governor Medina says, I categorically object. The governor clenches his fist. As much as I respect the sanctity of your monastery, I have on my hands a whole capital that needs to be attended by the Omnissiah's servants. We have lost many eminent tech priests. Incidentally, one of them perished in the same monastery. Mechanical failures could occur at any moment. Putting it bluntly, you may consider yourself forcibly recruited into the city's defense forces. Medina and Pascal glare at each other, their unyielding gazes like crossed swords. You've picked an interesting time to quarrel with a servant of the Omnissiah, Governor. As Magos is part of my retinue, you have no right to give him orders. Perhaps the esteemed governor is right, or let Pascal deal with his own problems. I mean, definitely 2 is a perfect answer, but I also kind of want to ask about his quarrel, because it is odd. You have tons of tech priests. Why do you need specifically this one? It's part of my retinue. You've picked an interesting time to quarrel with the servant of the Omnissiah, Governor. A critical situation calls for decisive action. I simply cannot let every learned tech priest go to their death the moment they hear about an endangered relic. I need people who can do more than praise the Omnissiah to look after the capital and its millions of citizens. Well, this Magos is part of my retinue. You have no right to give him orders. You mistake me for a fool. I know that he arrived separately from you, and I would bet my life that no... Hey, Pascal. Why are you carrying that gun? And axe. The governor's voice dies down in the low growl of a drilling mechadendrite. Its tip is directed straight at the bridge of his nose. Medina clears his throat and grumbles stubbornly. So this is the negotiation technique you have resorted to. Do you think that this is the first time I've been threatened with a weapon? No, but this could be your last. Pascal's voice is akin to the sound produced by his drilling implement. Steady and calm, but ready to explode at a moment's notice, with the crunching of bone and the squelching of tearing flesh. I'm heading to the monastery because I must. Is that clear? The governor mutters through gritted teeth. Abundantly so. Oh, Magos. Why are you so determined to go to the monastery? Is it because of the relic? Or it would be my pleasure to assist the Omnissiah servant in reaching the sanctum. Why are you so determined to go there? It is why I came to this world. I am expected there. Well, it would be my pleasure to assist the Omnissiah servant in reaching the sanctum. Thank you for your cooperation, your lordship. The drill stops. As compensation for your consideration of my request, I, Magos Hanneman, officially undertake to accompany you in the Rykad system, in the role of bodyguard, and protect you at all costs until your life functions cease, but only within the limits of the Rykad system. You're Hanneman. Glad you're alive. The governor raises his eyebrow and stares at the tech priest in surprise, but refrains from further commentary. I wish to know more about the monastery. Why not shell the monastery if that is where the insurgents have gathered, or deploy a landing force? Pascal, what's so special about the cenobium and the relic? What is there that draws the attention from an interrogator of the Inquisition? And what's perplexed you about my companion's name? Again, all good questions. I wish to know more about the monastery. The cenobium has been run by the Adeptus Mechanicus ever since the colony was founded. The sacred reactor, guarded by its priests, powers the entire planet. I can say no more. It is a forbidden place that even I have only been allowed to visit once before. Well, now it makes sense why not shell it if it's powering the whole planet. But deploying a landing force, maybe. Why not shell the monastery if that is where the insurgents have gathered, or deploy a landing force? Fulfilling this request puts the monastery in danger of major destruction. The consequences of this decision for the world of Rykad Minoris would be catastrophic. And Pascal, what's so special about the cenobium and the relic? What is there to draw the attention of an interrogator of the Inquisition? I've never been there before, but I would presume that the sacred relic of the reactor is capable of great destruction should it end up in the heretic hands. The fury of the freed machine spirits, once released from the sacred circuit, will destroy everything around them. The degree of damage inflicted may render the world of Rykad Minoris uninhabitable. Heresy must be purged from those blessed halls. I declare any desecrator who defies the relic's power a Category 3 blasphemer, deserving of immediate execution. And what has perplexed you about my companion's name? The governor looks at Pascal with curiosity. According to the reports we received, Logis Abel Hanneman set off for the hallowed electrodynamic cenobium a short while before it was stormed. I'm glad to find out that you're safe. Perhaps you possess information on Master Van Kalox. Pascal's vox rasped in confusion. My name is Pascal Hanneman, not Abel. I know nothing about such a person. What do you know about this Abel, Governor? I've never met him in person. That esteemed Logis supervised the work of Rykad Minoris' Lex Mechanics for many years. However, he rarely left the Cyber Chapel, and I never had the honor of making his acquaintance. A true anchorite. Why did he fly to the monastery? That seems suspicious. When a Logis of the Adeptus Mechanicus wants to go somewhere, you don't ask why, your lordship. Where can I get more information on this individual? I would have suggested that you inspect the esteemed Logis' sanctum, but it was destroyed by the rebels. We recovered several data crypts and connected them to the cogitators at the command post. They might provide you with some information. It's amazing that a mechanical voice from a vox can sound so confused. That name might have been used as a signal intelligible only to its intended recipient. In that case, its bearer might be Archmagos Armanat, initiating an investigation and data collection procedure. I see. Glad to be of service, your lordship. Tech Priest Quartz Crane claims you have not been doing enough to ensure the safety of the Adeptus Mechanicus Monastery. With a heavy sigh, the governor warily covers his face with his hand. Of course he does. That Tech Priest is very insistent. I ordered a squad to be dispatched to the Holy Cenobium of the Adeptus Mechanicus. They haven't been heard from yet. I'm afraid that this is all I can do under the present circumstances. I don't have a single soldier to spare here in the capital. Alright, then are you so confident you can crush the insurrection soon? My own impressions have been the exact opposite. Is that so? The governor maintains his composure. I'd like to hear your reasoning. The insurgency is headed by a certain Aurora, a prophet who, according to their followers, possesses mystical powers. Scores of crazed people with scorched eyes are stalking the city. The insurgents talk of a final dawn, the impending demise of the world. Insurgents managed to steal a Voxcaster. They have been listening to your people's communications. Yeah, that's bad. The insurgents are using the archenemy's artifacts, enchanted lenses, to perform unholy sorcery. I can see that it is not in my power to convince you. Let's change the subject. I assume we can go through all of these. The insurgency is headed by a certain Aurora, a prophet who, according to their followers, possesses mystical powers. The rabble's usual superstitions. I'm sure this Aurora is a charlatan muttering some dodgerel, which their dim followers think to be magic spells. This does, of course, warrant their eventual burning in the furnace of penance, but it does not point out to there being anything special about this insurgency. Scores of crazed people with scorched eyes are stalking the city. The insurgents are maiming their own. Good. The insurgents talk of a final dawn, the impending demise of the world. Yet another superstition. Surely you don't expect me to believe in it. The insurgents managed to steal Voxcaster. They have been listening to your people's communications. It's not much, but it is something. I will order an audit of our equipment and see to it that our communication channels are more closely monitored going forward. However, it was only the accidental success of an otherwise disorganized mob of heretics who have no understanding of the art of war. The insurgents are using the archenemy's artifacts, enchanted lenses, to perform unholy sorcery. I've heard about these lenses. What makes you think they're enchanted? Any fool can light a fire with a magnifying glass. That's no sorcery. Because I'm a psyker trained in warped lore, and I can tell the difference between a magnifying glass burning out eyes and people using warp sorcery? Come on, dude. You ought to leave your bunker more often, Governor Medina. I have only recently arrived in this system, and I already know much more about the uprising than you do. The governor's eyes darken, but your unwavering gaze makes him give in. All right. Perhaps I've underestimated the mutiny, writing it off as the rabble's usual nonsense. However, it does not involve... If it does involve corruption and an underground cult, this needs to be investigated. I'll assign additional resources to it and take the issue seriously. You have my word, your lordship. Alright, is there anything else I can do on this planet or in this system while I wait for the end of this revolt? If you'd like a distraction, a smaller and safer uprising to suppress at your leisure, there is a planetoid in my system called Rykad Philia. It hosts a prison colony, whose inmates rebelled at the same time as the heretics on the planet. It's an all-round preposterous situation. It should have only taken us a couple of orbital shots to take care of them, but the governor slightly purses his lips. Yvain Winterscale went there. He is a relative of my suzerain, the great rogue trader Caligos Winterscale, the master of this system, and a dozen others. I imagine the young Lord Winterscale is very eager to prove himself to the distinguished kinsman. I see no reason for you not to join him. It's a small planetoid, the prisoners' numbers are few, and they have little in way of weapons. It's more of a sport for noble lords than a real rebellion. Vain, Abelard mutters, stroking his beard. One of his distant, younger offspring, yes. That's as much as I know about him, which means he hasn't distinguished himself in any meaningful way. Yvain Winterscale has made several diplomatic visits to York 5 on behalf of his father. The great regent would never have granted entry to someone dishonorable, which means no matter what happened on the planetoid, we must aid the highborn. Alright, that's all I want to discuss. Alright, that was a lot. Huh. But now we have a new goal, I suppose. So we'll want to... I guess we can actually talk to this guy again, now that we've gotten... See if he has any comments about us getting approval to take care of stuff. Can you guys get out of the tech priest I'm wanting to talk to? Thank you. Unit Quartz Crane requests permission to negotiate trade agreements. Are you open to commercial transaction? Do you know anything about the tech priest Abel Hanneman? Unit Quartz Crane has had no previous communications with Unit Abel Hanneman. The memory sector contains other data related to this query. Various resources and data storage devices of interest have been extracted by the standing army of Reichad Minoris for preservation purposes. The command center currently hosts a cogitator that was used by Unit Abel Hanneman. Appeal to the cogitator spirits for further information. Alright, I'll take my leave. So they're talking about this. Is there new information available here? Yes. Cogitator looks a lot older and more worn than the ones next to it. However, it has evidently been well cared for. Numerous parts have been replaced, not a single key is jammed, and fresh seals with the prayers of the Omnissiah adorn its surface. One of the side panels has been removed. Bundles of gold notch cables run from inside to a small data crypt that was connected only a short while ago. Okay, go to the Logis' private archive. Result of Logis Abel's data trance. I cannot see the secret design, but I can sense it, shackled in stasis. The minds of the initiated are slumbering in the neural harness of their vows. I'm registering an impulse of change. I surmise a potential influence on the stasis of the secret design. There came a time when the spiral was turned into a circle, but the cycle can be discontinued. The revelation granted by the Omnissiah to Logis Abel in the course of his data meditation has been recorded verbatim. Logis Abel is seeking an audience with the venerable Dar Impulse 6, who may assist in interpreting the revelation. A request has been sent to the governor's palace for a shuttle flight to the electrodynamic cenobium. A message has also been sent to the Furibundus system. Cycle can be discontinued. I recognize the words. The voice from the box is soft and pensive, barely audible over the static noises. I believe I know the intended recipient of the message in the Furibundus system. It was me. Omnissiah, grant me the wisdom to fathom this mystery. Okay. So we could go back to our void ship now, or we can go to the upper way. I guess we're gonna go to the void ship because we have nothing else to do on this planet where we are. I assume we could use the void ship to get to the Tech Priest Monastery. Although, is it on this planet? I don't know. Let's go to the void ship. That should make things clear of where we go from here.